Hi,
Good.
everybody. Rebecca had a really interesting quote on her Facebook about COVID and the risk to all the other people in her life and how important it is for social distancing so that they can survive this. And it really made like I've been pondering this for the last couple of weeks. This our relationship we have with death, and this is really making each of us face the reality that our loved ones could potentially die. And there's this huge fear of it, and rightfully so to some extent. Or you can choose to be in a state of fear, or you can choose to be in a state of love. And I just wanted to talk to these fine folk about it, and I wanted to share Rebecca's post. Actually, Rebecca, will you read it? Do you have it handy?
Maybe.
If you don't, then it's right in front of me, and I can. I'd love to hear it from your voice.
It isn't about you. It's about my asthmatic, immunocompromised mom. It's about Evie's 90-year-old great-grandma, my dad who's had a heart attack, my father-in-law with respiratory issues, my friends who are battling cancer. Those people who very likely would not survive COVID-19. I bet you have a list too. It's about them. So just because you'd survive doesn't mean you get to be reckless with the lives of others. You're being asked to stay home. You're not being called to war. It's a small sacrifice to save lives. So shove your selfishness in a can for a few weeks. My 7-year-old understands social responsibility and ethics, so why is it so hard for so many adults?
Right? And I think that's super valid. And I'm sure that there's lots of people that have the opinion that this is Mother Nature's way of wiping some of the humans off the planet. And this is just kind of a necessary evil. And I'm sure there's lots of people that think that. Myself, honestly, like that's part of, like I believe lots of things, and that's one of the things that I believe. I also believe in social distancing as a community to mitigate the issues. So I kind of have a really broad way of looking at it. So when we really cycle back to this relationship with death, like what is our relationship with death? And yeah.
Let's go into that idea that you were just talking about with this about wiping us off the planet and stuff like that in this grander scheme, right? Because this has been coming up a lot in conversations with me lately. Like, if we zoom out, like zooming out from the speciest view that we have of the world, that this is here for us and it's all about us, and that this is all for us, this is all our backyard, this is all our simulation. Zooming out from that, this is just what's happening. And this virus is living and doing its best to stay alive, just like we are. And, when we take efforts to eradicate viruses, passively and actively in our bodies and in our world. And I don't think that the difference is that the planet doesn't care about us. There's no thing that's like, yes, this is for you. Like, yeah, great, Mother Earth, I get that in that respect, but it's also, and I feel that, and I trust that, and I respect that, but I don't feel like it cares. And that's that amazing mothering lesson too. That's super important. It's like, do your own thing, but this is borrowed time, and I didn't promise you anything.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. And I shared my thoughts with my part of these thoughts with my stepmom the other night, and the look she gave, she was horrified. And I'm like, it's just one way of looking at it, that like I could be super wrong, and like you can have whatever opinion you want to have on it. And I'm still going to love and support. And the reason that I am social distancing is because I have love for everyone else, and it's important to them. So I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
And, right.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, do no harm.
Yeah.
Stay home.
Rolling with it. And like like I said, like we're just being asked to stay home. No big deal.
I heard an interview, they were interviewing people in Florida who are kind of doing business as usual, if not a little more, partying and stuff like that, and hanging out on the beach. And they're just saying, yeah, we're not too worried about it. And it's like, okay, great. Don't be worried about it, but don't be worried about it in a way that isn't actively spreading and harming all this stuff.
Yeah, and it's a matter of supporting your community, and I think that is also human nature too, right? What's best for the tribe.
Yeah, and it also loops in this whole idea of invisible disease, and this is an issue that many people are facing way before this. People with MS, people with like dyslexia, right? We don't see it. If this virus turned people blue and you were exposed, people would be acting completely different. Like if you were in a half-mile radius or even a 10-foot radius of somebody with this and you turned blue, like it would be a whole different situation. But if you don't feel a symptom for 2 weeks later and think maybe it's just seasonal allergies, then that coupled with this idea of actively running away as a default in human nature from the fact that we're going to die, and filling up our day and time with distractions to really connect, all that has us not want to be present to any of these ideas. And as that shifts, what sweeps in is this inauthentic immortality vibe.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be fine. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. And again, like a lot of us in our generation aren't worried about it for us, and we're worried about it for our parents and our grandparents. And then I have friends with kids that have like autoimmune disease or like respiratory distress, and those are the people that the world tends to be worried about, right? And that's what this whole social responsibility thing is about. And then really like that makes us face the potential of their death, because they are more fragile than us every single day, regardless of whether there's a rampant plague going on.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, what I really want to talk about is what is our relationship with death. So we were briefly talked about it before we started recording. And yeah, I have probably a different relationship with death than a lot of people, but that's also everyone's so different. So what the fuck do I know? I don't know. Lots of people get on my relationship with death. Who knows? But what is like? Do each of you fear death? And okay, so my question is: do you fear your own death?
No, because the part of me that would be afraid in the moment won't be there anymore. The fear of death is not the experience or it happening. The fear is the no longer being. Mm-hmm. It's not like there's a quote, unlike dying, death is not part of your life. Dying is part of your life, and it starts the second you're born, and it gets a lot faster towards the end. But death is not part of this life, and any of the concerns or fears that you have about it aren't going to be there because there won't be something there to be feeling it. Mm-hmm. So the concern is more, I won't be here for my kids, or I won't be here to see what the world's like, or who's going to take care of this? And it's concerns for other people's life, or I'm going to miss out. But there won't be a you to be experiencing that, and it's a big red neon sign pointing towards be here now that we actively turn away from.
Yeah. What are you? But you, Rebecca, do you fear your own death?
I think I fear the thought of being dead, and like all the things that that you were saying about, not being there for my kids out. And I've actually spent a ton of time stressing myself out thinking about it. So I just actively try not to think about death.
So this is it. Like, if we can't control it, and we're trying to control it, we're actively trying to control death, every single one of us right now. Yeah. But if we can't control death, and I don't think that we really, I don't know what I think. Um, but if we can't control it, what's the sense in stressing over it?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like it's coming for all of us at some point.
So it part of it's just the default script, right? Like, you know, if you look at the biggest fears, they do surveys of this, like the biggest fear, what are people afraid of right now? And even in the last couple of years, and amongst things like financial instability, job, family, this, that, the other thing, the number one fear of the entire population of the planet, like that always ranks to the top, is snakes. It's always snakes. And it's because it's such a visceral, oh my God, danger, look out, that could kill me. And it's all from like right back in there saying, stay alive. And we're so led by like, don't die, find healthy food, and be here tomorrow. So it's the relationship to death is given to us in a certain sense, and we've just inherited this survival mechanism. But in our ability to handle our survival mechanism, it's grown to a certain extent, but what's grown much quicker is our ability to actually provide for ourselves. So we've got the food, we've got the shelter, we've got what we need to keep this machine running, but there's still that little piece of code in there that's saying, look out, danger. And this is going to dictate how you operate in your day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm. So this fear of death that each of us have, like we like instinctually, like survival is like the first and foremost of our instincts, right? Survive. And there's this like there's kind of like the yin and the yang to it, right? There's like fight like hell to survive, and also like there's this element of surrendering to death too, right? Surrendering to what is. And it's, I think that there's that kind of flow between the two of them. Does that make sense? Yeah, and I guess I think it really cycles back to what do you believe? What do you believe? Like I believe in the universe. I believe in um, everything's kind of supposed to happen the way it happens, and I also believe that I can control my destiny as well.
Hmm.
And so what I find really curious about this whole thing is that there's this idea that we're trying to control everything, but God, a big blanket statement, God there, is also controlling it. So really, what is it? Are we controlling it, or is God controlling it? That's my question. And are we fucking with God if we're trying to control it, or did God give us the things so we could control it? No.
So is it that the question is God, or who's in control, God or us, in terms of our fear of death or the timeline of death? Is it like free will versus determinism?
I don't know. I think that that's something that we all need to contemplate and come to some kind of what's that word?
Like a consensus or a balance?
Consensus in our brain.
So it
Right?
brings up this question that's similar to that Groucho Marx quote, right? He used to say, I'd never join a club that would have me as a member. I like, what I've been saying is I'd never pray to a God that would listen to my prayer. In most of my thoughts, it's like asking for something. And I just get really frustrated when I'd hear people say like, oh yeah, it's all part of God's plan and I'm praying for this. I'm like, well, wait, is it the plan or are you asking for something? Like, are you praying to be able to like accept the plan? Because if you're praying for something else, then are you still trusting the plan? Like pick one, you know, because the people who are just like, yeah, it's all part of the plan, who really surrender into that are super happy. And the ones who are like praying to have stuff and they need like, just let me win the lottery. Like,
And that to me is the difference between hope and faith, right? Hope is like throwing in a prayer and hoping that it happens,
yeah.
right? And faith is like really having that deep trust
Yeah.
in what the plan is.
Yeah. Faith and reason are opposite. You can't have both.
Yeah, so like, so the people that are happy, I feel like there's the people that are like the reason people and the people that are the faith people, and like each of them are happy, but it's the middle part that's kind of complicated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the selective reasoning and the selective, ideas. Yeah, hope is kind of like, it's not quite an expectation. That's more like a demand on the future. Hope is kind of like chocolate covered dog shit, is the way I always heard it. It's ooh, yum, right? Like, but yeah, faith is real surrender, and yeah, I'm provided for. This is going to be great. Um, or I'm provided for, and this is going to be awesome. Or I'm provided for, and this is going to suck. But I'm provided for, and it's going to happen, and I'm surrendering to it. And then taking both stances gets really wishy-washy. Kind of like we were talking about before, where people are like, I don't believe in God or an afterlife until someone they care about dies, and then all of a sudden they're looking down on them from this cloud.
From above, yeah.
Yeah. Or from below.
I'd be together for sure. Absolutely. You have any insights to add to that, Rebecca?
I just think it's really interesting, for years, every therapist that I've seen has been like, you really need to work on your spiritual growth. And now I've been handed 3 weeks with nothing to do but work on my spiritual growth.
Nice.
This is exactly where everyone is right now. I honestly, truly believe that this is a gift to each and every one of us. And that all of us are getting the medicine that we need in this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, if nothing else, it's certainly an opportunity to get all those things that we always ask for, right? There's never enough time. There's never enough time with your family. There's never enough time to read that book that you want to read, or, have that conversation about death that you probably should have been having for the last 5 years. And, and all of a sudden we have all of this time and people are reconnecting. And I think that that's, if nothing else, then it's a great opportunity.
Yeah. And that might be what Mother Nature's plan is, to like have us just like slow down, step back, give the planet a break for a little bit from all the cars and all the production and all that stuff. And this might just be our lesson in it. Like none of us really know none of us know the why.
Mm-hmm.
None of us know the why. Why is a funny question in terms of whatever is happening in the world ever.
That why is only important to us, not anybody else, or not the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you go in the science perspective, it's just a chain reaction. We need to find meaning in stuff. That's our gift / plague of humanity, is we need to make sense of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's hard to give it up, but if you just say, this is happening now, stay home, okay.
Oh my God, I'm so happy right now, guys. I can't even explain how happy I am.
It's awesome.
Spent the week with my kids. It was awesome. Spent the week with my new love. Everything's just hunky-dory over here. But I have my basic survival needs taken care of.
Yeah.
So, and lots of people don't. So that's a whole other kettle of fish.
Yeah, there's lots of scary stuff happening.
Yeah, and this is like my privilege speaking too.
So you set up a lot of things to have that be the case, though, in your life before this, right? You've been on this path of designing what you want in an effortless way, and you've acquired this stability and this security through privilege, through acceptance and growth and moving authentically as yourself. That plays a lot into it, I think.
Yeah, maybe. that we're all just in different spots, and I've talked to quite a few people in the last couple of days that are so fucking mad that they don't get to do whatever they want to do.
Mm.
And again, so coming back to what I wanted to talk about with death is the attachment, or attachments to people specifically. Uh,
Mm.
but also in this fury that I've talked to a couple of people in the last few days, they're furious, like furious that they have to stay home and that somebody's telling them what to do. And there's this attachment to the freedom too, right? Attachment to our freedom and to be able to do whatever the hell we want to do whenever we want to do it. Um, oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. So it's like, okay, so you're not allowed to do this list of things, but like, what are the list of things that you are allowed to do? Right? Like and it depends on like, are you like optimist, pessimist, right? I don't get to do these things. I'm so mad. I'm like, but look at all the things I do get to do. Yay. Woo. You know?
Yeah,
It's definitely a bit of a perspective thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely.
She gets to spend time with her kids. She gets to read a book. I've been crafting and creating content and writing and oh, just so content, having such great conversations with my new love too. Oh, so wonderful. So happy. But again, like it's like coming back to the like, so how do we feel about, we talked about our death of ourselves and like, do we fear it? I don't fear my own death. And the reason that I don't fear my own death is because I feel like I live so hard every day, and that everyone that I love knows without a shadow of a doubt how much I love them. So if I die tomorrow, that's all that's important to me, is that they know how much they're loved by me.
Yeah.
Choose to live my life, and I don't know that lots of people do that. And like, honestly, some of the biggest regrets of people that are, survive their families, are I didn't tell them that I love them, or they didn't know how much I meant to them. One of my partners, his mother passed away, and like, I love yous and hugs and kisses weren't a thing in their family. And he's like his biggest regret was not telling his mother that he loved her. And that's like a big thing. Um, so that's why I don't fear death. I look at death as a form of peace. I've also seen people die, like seen people pass away, um, and felt the overwhelming sense of peace that comes into that. And I'm grateful that I've had those opportunities. Like, not everybody has had that opportunity. And I was like, actually, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'm like, have you ever been with anybody who's passed away? And my grandma's 87. And the only person that she's ever seen pass away was her grandma. Her grandma. You know,
Mm.
who was that? But of that many that many years, she's seen one person pass away. And yeah, so being present with death is a different experience. I'd love to hear anybody that has experienced someone's passing, like being present with them when they cross over or die, or however you want to call it.
Mm.
Hear what those lessons have, what that experience has taught you. So feel free to share in the comments. So again, so that's my experience with my own death. I'm like, all good, all good. I've lived, and I've loved, and that's what's important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting to say goodbye is an extra gift on top of it for us. Less great for them, right? Like, they're doing other things in that moment. But for us to be able to spend the rest of our time knowing that we said everything we could say was good. My mother had lung and brain cancer, and within a few days before, maybe a week before she died, we got to have I got to ask if there was anything she wanted to say that she hadn't, and she asked me, and there wasn't anything, but we talked about, great memories and what we learned from each other, and said everything else that there was to say. I love you and I care about you and thank you and all these great, wonderful things. And it was after that, a lot of her pain medication had kicked in where she was kind of gone. So we couldn't have had that conversation. So at the point where her body stopped functioning and she died, I had already said goodbye a while ago and she wasn't there. And I recognize how much of a gift that is, because I've had other friends and family die where you just get a phone call, like this person's gone now. Yeah. And accident, suicide, whatever. It makes you question, did they know how I felt? And the best thing to do is just say, maybe not. So I'm going to make sure I tell everybody all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let anybody go without them knowing what's going on. And it's just, this is it. Here I am, 100%. This is what you get. This is how I feel. So if you die tomorrow or I die tomorrow, there'll be no question.
Yep. And so is that, I guess the question is, what are our relationships with the death of our loved ones? Like Erin, you lost your mother, like very, very close relation. I watched I held my daughter as she passed away in my arms. I have a very intimate relationship with death.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is kind of like the fear of death, right? And that I've been through the fucking worst. And I don't fear it. Of course, if one of my other children, of which I have two, if they passed away, I'd be devastated. I would I get choked up even think obviously devastated and grief stricken for the rest of my life. And it is part of that was their destiny, their journey, whatever. So do I fear it? I think so. I think I fear it, and that's my truth. Yeah, I definitely fear it, and if it comes, I'm willing to surrender and accept it. If that makes sense.
There's that part of this whole idea of survival instinct, right, in the reptile brain. Some animals have this and some don't, but as a parent, that switch flips and it's like, take care of this thing, keep this thing alive, and do whatever you can, even if it means sacrificing yourself to have it happen. So that fear for someone else that you're taking care of is part of that survival instinct for someone else, and part of that caretaking and mothering. And it's something that it's a gift we receive that some of us get to pay back through taking care of the next generation. And it's very different for doing that for the child versus someone on the street. Like, this person's clearly in pain and having a really bad time and is close to death. But I really got to get to this yoga class.
Yeah, that's it. I had a really interesting conversation a couple years ago. I just posed the question to my partner who has two kids, and I have two kids. And okay, so there's a burning building. You have the option to save your two or my two and one of yours. What do you save? And there's this element of there's this hierarchy of who are we going to save? Whose life is more important? Is it, you know what I mean? It's such a mind fuck when we really think about it.
Yeah, that was the trolley problem in ethics thought experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Do you save, hurt one person to save 5 people, or do you, how do you live in this situation? There's no right answers to a lot of this stuff.
No, and they're he and I had different answers, and they're both answers.
Yeah.
We put on them. Um, so Rebecca, what's your relationship with the possibility that, you know, you like death, that death may come?
I mean, death will come eventually, right? Listening to talk about your, how you live, and, that if you did die, everybody knows that, everybody who you love knows that you love them. And, looking at it from that perspective, I can say that I'm, I'm very open about my love. So I live that way. I love hard, and everybody who I love knows, because I constantly, constantly, constantly tell them. So, that definitely makes me think that, should that happen unexpectedly, my daughter's going to grow up knowing that her mom loved the hell out of her, because that's something I tell her 300,000 times a day until she tells me to stop. So, so that's definitely something that I hadn't really thought of. I mean, I definitely, this is making me, examine my relationship with death for sure. Because in my job, I mean, I work in mental health, so I deal with a lot of suicide, attempted suicide, so, and I don't know why I don't factor that in when I think about death. Maybe it's because those relationships are more distant than the ones that, than looking at the potential of this killing my mom, right? Whereas that is for me, that's a problem that has a potential solution. I can help in that. And this, I feel helpless. And I think that impacts it as well, right? I feel like there's so much I can't do in this situation, versus I have skills and training to help in the other situation. So.
Did I mention about my grandparents before, and that I went to see my own? I think I said it before we popped on, and that one of the yamas in yoga is non-attachment, and Buddha Buddha has a quote basically like I can't remember what it is specifically, but its attachment is basically the root of all suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And like clearly have a very strong attachment to my grandparents. My grandpa's 93, my grandma's 87. And I've always been really, really close with them. Um, and I've had to face their potential death multiple times. And like every time it's like you can feel those feathers. And for me, I know that the pain's going to come, and I don't need to resist it. And there's an equation that pain plus resistance equals the suffering.
Mm.
The pain is inevitable. Like it's something about two arrows, and I can't remember what it is, but there's a quote about two arrows. But the first arrow, you get the air, like the shot. But the second arrow is the suffering. So like you're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
But you don't want to stab yourself again with the suffering. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So there's all of these attachments. Like I am attached to each of you. You're both dear friends of mine. Um, and if I constantly thought about that one of you might not be here tomorrow, like I could not even think about being present with you and enjoying you, because my presence would be off in thinking that one of you is going to die. And that often happens, like those little brief moments happen in my life with my grandparents. I was at their house 3 weeks ago, and I had this passing thought because coronavirus was on the TV, and I'm like, yeah, they might die someday, and my heart like ached, and I'm like, no, you're gonna be happy and present that you've gotten 34 years with your grandparents, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So when we really live our life from attachments, like my relationships, I have two awesome partners right now, and one of them could leave me, and that's okay. And it's like when we're so attached to stuff, we get forceful and we try to control everything, and we're really taken out of the moment and out of joy, and that is what hinders our happiness. is the fear of not having something someday.
Hmm.
It's like you're enjoying this concert and you know that it's going to end. It's like you're doing the sex and you know it's going to end.
Yeah.
A lot of relationships are like that too, and that we're just waiting for the other fucking shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Living in the future like that is a real thing. There's a Mitch Hedberg had a thing about that. Like, so he offered somebody a drink of wine, and he said, "No, if I get drunk, I get like hungover and a headache." And he's like, "Yeah, but everything in between is awesome." like, he's like, "Don't give me an apple. Eventually, it'll be a core." You know?
Yeah. Yes. 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 Don't give me an apple because eventually it'll be a core.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything there's like the only certainty of life is impermanence.
Yeah. And the other example that works really well with that is that I loved. I'd heard years ago was you're at work at some desk and you've got piles and piles of work and things to do and stuff you have to get done and you're stressed and you're crazy, but you're sitting with a smile on your face because you have a ticket to a beach resort for a week and you're just blissed out because you've got this trip coming up. And then fast forward 6 days, you're sitting in paradise on this beach with a drink in your hand and gorgeous people and the waves and dolphins are jumping and you're stressed and pissed off because you've got this pile of crap at your desk waiting for you. And instead of just being where you are, you're living in this, future that might happen. You don't know. It's a plan, which always is iffy at best.
Mm-hmm. Then what do we do with this? Can we choose to love the ones we're with instead of fearing their death?
And can you love them deeper by accepting their death? They're going to die. I accept it. And I'm here for you now. Let's not run away. Let's not, go short on this. Let's not avoid this. Let's truly be here and be present right now. Because this is what we got.
When Fiona was here, so Fiona, my daughter, lived for 35 days. She was in Chio for 5 days. We were at Roger's house for 7 days. So that is 13 days. And all I wanted to do when we were at Roger's house was go home. I wanted to live with her. I wanted and that was my thinking. I was like, I don't want to just wait for her to die because we knew she was going to pass away. I want to live with her. I want to share her with the world. I want to be with her. I want to cuddle with her. I want to sleep in bed with her. I want to everything. I just want to be with her. I want to fucking live with her. Right? Like you can look at your life like you're dying every day. Or you can look at your life like you're living every day.
Yeah.
Even if death is coming, you're still living. Right? And this whole YOLO thing, you only live once. It's like, no, you live every damn day.
Yeah, you only die once.
You only die once.
Yeah, live the rest of the time. We should reclaim that. Yodo. You only done it once, so enjoy.
So I guess my question is how can we encourage people to, I think that you can either live from a place of love or you can live from a place of fear. Love is really being present and grateful for everything that you have, and fear is that attachment place that you might not have it someday.
Yeah.
My invitation is to everyone to be present and to be aware of what barriers are in front of them to not being present. Is there things that need to be said? Is there stuff that needs to be done? How can you just be and appreciate it? Because we never fucking know.
Yeah.
A lot of the times that Reaper comes out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. That was part of that book Fight Club, The Human Sacrifice, was they pull somebody out of their job, like it was a Quickie Mart clerk, and
Yeah.
held a gun to his head and like, what did you want to be doing instead of doing this? And he was like, I was studying to be a vet. And he was like, tomorrow you're going to go be a vet. He's like, I'm going to keep your driver's license in, and if I check in on you and you're not studying to be a vet, then I'm going to come to your house. And he's like, why did you do that? And he said, well, tomorrow that his food is going to taste better than ever. He's going to start this new life. Like the sun is going to be perfect. It was this human sacrifice and killing off these things that tell him he can't do it so that he can live his life really fully, truly. And so what is it that shows up that has that be lasting too? Because there's all these little bumps and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna finally do that diet and like I'm gonna do this, and then it just falls off. And like, what is that part of the humanity that seeps back in that has us fall off that? What is it serving, and can we get it somewhere else, or do we even need it at all? More often than not, those stories and those patterns are looking for evidence to keep themselves alive. They're like a virus that's in our head that's just trying to keep itself going. It has no value for the rest of our life. So what is the way to spark that joy for being alive in your everyday safely? And maybe it just is being in love.
Be in love. Always. I love you guys.
So much love.
So much love.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And like, just because I believe stuff doesn't mean that anybody else has to believe it. Just a different way of looking at things.
Yeah, I want to hear some counter stuff.
Yeah, I'm really like, I don't know. I believe everything and I believe nothing. I believe that we can be socially responsible and be by ourselves and socially distance. And I believe that maybe this is coming to cleanse some humans because there's too many of us. And I believe that everyone has a right to feel however they want to feel. And I could be bloody friggin' wrong about everything. And that's okay with me too. But what I want to hear from people on this topic is like, what is your relationship with your own death? What is your relationship with the death of like the potential death of your loved ones? Because that's really what the root of all this chaos and all this fear is this time. It really is our survival. There's like the money aspect, and then there's this potential death aspect. Um, and can we live from a place of love? And then I also have some suggestions on how people can, yeah. So I think that have conversations with people about death. Like talk to your partner or your kids or somebody on Zoom or Skype or one of your friends. Like have a conversation about your relationship with death, like your own, somebody else's, um, and really understand where the fear or the comfort or wherever that you can feel however you want about death. I kind of think it's funny actually. um I've got a sick and twisted mind, dark, sick, twisted mind, and journal about it. Like write about death for like 1,000 words. Just write everything, or even pretend like you're writing a letter to death. Say, "Hey, death, this is what I think," and like have a conversation with death through like a pen, paper, or keyboard. Also, you can meditate on it, sit and think and contemplate and really feel that. And tuning into what that fear is telling you. There's medicine in that fear. So go find it. Find the lessons that you need to learn so that you can be present and that you can move from a place of love instead of fear. Do you have any suggestions? Anybody else have suggestions?
Hmm. Puppy scratches.
Yeah. Somebody heard the word love, so.
Love me. I know how to do that. Puppies are love.
Yeah, puppies are good love. Hmm.
Oh, they heard love. Oh, goodness.
Aww.
Anyone has suggestions on things to do to really move towards this fear as opposed to away from it, like how to really get into the fire, or to let anything that needs to any of those fears that need to die to burn off. I'm
Mm-hmm.
more than happy to. Would love to hear them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be great. How to, yeah, how to move closer and further, and what have you noticed in when you start shifting towards this like determinist or free will or fear of death or comfort with death? Like what was it that shifted? What happened? What actions, and where does it live in your body? You know, for a lot of people, is this a gut fear of death? Is this a heart fear of death? Is it something you can't talk about, right? Um, and what are you doing to move that? That's really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, another one I think is talking to old people about death. Like I was walking around the grocery store, only old people, and I think that they have a different relationship with death than we do, because so many of their partners, their friends, their colleagues, potentially their children have passed, and what have what kind of lessons have they learned through their life experience with death? Because they have far more wisdom than we do,
Mm-hmm.
just because of like life experience and days lived. Those are my offerings. Those are my suggestions. I'll write them down so I can actually just post them if people don't want to listen to this whole ramblings of us for however long we were on here. But it was a pleasure chatting with you guys, and
Thank you so much.
thank you for stirring up the conversation, Rebecca.
Well, thank you. This has definitely been very of a lot of thinking and self-searching to do. And this is a really good place to start, which I think I've been looking for a really long time. So,
How do you feel?
lighter. My back doesn't hurt as much. Is that weird?
No, that's not weird at all. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm super curious to see how your body transitions and moves with a little bit of a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Things I'd never thought of in relation to death, right?
Yeah. And I offer you to think a little bit less about it and feel a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel about each of these things?
Yeah, I'm going to do some writing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And like notice what the thoughts feel like in your body. Like what kind of um sensations the thoughts bring up inside your body, because that's where emotions live, is in the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And breathing into those spaces in your body and giving love to the visceral responses of whatever comes forth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yay.
Is it recording now?